I've seen this before. I've seen a lot of the cutscenes, even though I stopped playing WoW, as everyone knows, in Wrath. So today, as part of my Throwback Thursday format, I'm going to go back and play a game that I almost never played at all because I quit right at the end of Wrath, but then I came back briefly during Cataclysm, just got from 80 to 85, and I basically don't really even remember it, and I didn't do much. I didn't do anything after that. So basically, all I did was just, speed run from 80 to 85 just to try it. So the whole infamous trope with me is that every time I've gone back to play classic or retail WoW since then, since the end of Wrath, I've just, aside from that brief little stint in Kata, all I've done is sort of fly around on my flying mount like Ashes of Valar or something, and sort of just go around all the Cataclysm zones to sort of, I'll be doing a permadeath run, and I'll die to Deathwing just breathing fire over the whole zone, right? Because he could do that. So literally, imagine if my permadeath run ends because of that. 1 to 85 permadeath, no ability run or something I could turn it into. Yeah, that seems pretty good, and of course it shows him like in Stormwind, I think. Or like he lands in Stormwind. Some of the cutscenes are amazing, even after, I stopped playing. I like some of the ones from BFA. I'm somebody who actually liked the idea of Cataclysm from the perspective that it was a good way to remodel the old world, even if it's a bit contrived. The idea that, imagine if the old zones were still the same as they were now, like fucking 20 years later, right? Obviously that would be stupid. So even, they would have changed for other reasons maybe too, but you would have I hate how it just starts like that right when the game opens. At least let me do my fucking intro. I guess I could have rewatched it or whatever, but the point is that I like the fact that they changed the zones, even if the way they did it was a bit contrived. And the reason why I like that is because, and it's one of those good writing techniques of like in storytelling, the idea that you get to see the villain's presence everywhere you go. It's like Sauron in Lord of the Rings or something. You don't have to see him, but you kind of feel his presence everywhere you go, like, oh, the eye, or oh, whatever, he's tainted the land and stuff. But the whole point with that is every zone you go to, you're always reminded, oh shit, Deathwing did this, and he's the villain of the expansion, right? Like, that's a pretty epic way of looking at it. Just like how the Scourge have their fingerprints over everything, even from vanilla, right? So they're building out the Lich King so well. Let me try to switch from display capture to game capture in a second here. And yeah, I should almost play as a Goblin or I guess a Worgen, because those were the two obvious new races. But no, I always use goblins to sort of invalidate the whole panda shit, to say that, oh, pandas have their own continent and goblins just have their own little Kazan or whatever, home base. But in other words, the expansion isn't about goblins, even though they're much more intrinsic to the lore. They appear a lot more. They had Gadget Zan and Tanaris and all this kind of crazy stuff, Booty Bay. So their presence is much larger than the Pandaren, but yet they don't get their own expansion just dedicated to them and their continent. It's just a small part of it, right? Whereas pandas do. So that shows you their significance in lore is greater, but... And yeah, over time, they made it so, like, almost everybody can become everything, I feel like. But no, this would be cool to see. Just kind of, I don't know exactly what I want to do. And in fact, that's even what I was saying. Like, every time I've gone back to play Classic WoW, not Classic WoW, Retail WoW, ever since Cataclysm, right? Because I didn't really properly play the game in Cataclysm. All I've done is fly around on my flying mount and just look at the old zones. I go in thinking, oh, let me try Retail WoW just one day. I'll just go check it out, even though I have to buy an expansion, the most recent expansion, to do it sometimes. But I'll go around and be like, okay, let me see what's new. But then I end up saying, oh, let me just go back and see what's changed since I stopped playing in Wrath, basically, and let me see what changed with the Cataclysm zone. So I'll fly around on my flying mount and just go looking at all the zones, and oh, look, Stranglethorn Vale is a little different, or look at Westfall, right, and what changed in all of those. So that's the whole stupid thing that people make fun of me sometimes. Like, that's all I ever have done in Retail WoW since. I go in to maybe try to do something else, and then I just get distracted by that, just flying around the world and seeing what's changed and going sightseeing. I love that one spot in Feralis that's like a little hot spring that the goblins sort of create peace there too, and they sort of, in their little monetary paradise, they can overlook the Silithus sword that Sargeras stuck in there, and it doesn't matter to you because you're enjoying your little vacation on the beach. So that's a kind of a beautiful spot that opened up because of the ability to do Deathwing's Destruction, and of course you can finally fly around the vanilla world on a flying mount. So I guess that's part of the appeal of why I do that. Like, but no, we're not going to get any sort of level boost or something, so I might not even be able to do it. Like, I might just make a character and just start, but we'll do it as a permadeath run. But maybe I won't do it as a... I should do a mage, because that was the original class that obviously I played. I played a mage, and obviously I played vanilla, BC, and Wrath. So I played a mage in vanilla and BC, and then I played a warrior. I rerolled to a warrior in Wrath, just because I got sick of being so squishy, so I want to play a tank now. And obviously warriors were pretty good in Wrath. Paladins were sort of starting to get some ground. Or in BC, paladins were actually quite good, I remember, as tanks. So... I don't know. I should definitely not play Alliance, or maybe I should. I don't know even what I want to do now. I was thinking about making that whole joke of like, you know, oh, we always fly around in, you know, when we play Retail WoW, so why not do it in the old game, but in the actual game, but I can't do it because you're not going to have a flying mount at level 1, or maybe you will, because this is how they kind of reward people, you know, over time. You just get everything at lower levels, right? You used to get a mount at 40, then you got it at 30, then you probably get it at 20 or something dumb, or they even change it from male to female body type, but that's still discriminating against every other body type, not the least of which is like different sizes, right? Why does every character in a game have to be the same, you know, build and thin and stuff like that? Right, so I like that they try to subvert the male-female thing, but you're excluding every other body type in existence, so isn't that kind of prejudice too? I didn't like Draenei too much, obviously, and they were sort of a made-up retcon race too. Like, they were there was no such thing, right? They were called the Demonic Eridar, and that's all there were. But oh no, there were some good ones too, and that was apparently, you know, not even good ones, but like they were all meant to be kind of in the same group or whatever. Or yeah, that was one thing I was shocked at. I went to Gnomeregan to see, let's see how the new, because they did like the Sen'jin Isles, right? You got, they retook the Sen'jin Isles for the Trolls. So like it took only 4 expansions, but they finally are doing that, right? In Cataclysm. But then, let's see what Gnomeregan is like. I bet it's like a full city that you can actually go in, and they finally make it up to the gnomes. But they clown and troll the gnomes yet again because of the fact that, oh, not only do you not have a major city still, but... you know, we waited 4 expansions to finally address Gnomeregan, but we don't actually address it. Like, I don't get it. That's what I was expecting to see, either in Cataclysm or even afterwards, right? When I played, like, Shadowlands or something I just played briefly when I was flying around, like, last year. Right, with one of the modern expansions of WoW. The point is that I expected to see, oh, let's go in Gnomeregan and check it out, because the gnomes must have reclaimed it and finally gotten that capital city that they've been waiting the whole game for. But apparently they didn't, unless it somehow... was instanced and phased out and I wasn't allowed to go in there, but for some reason. But that's what I expected. The Sen'jin Isle should have been amazing, and it should have been a major capital city that makes up for the fact that the Trolls never had one. And also the same thing with respect to Gnomeregan for the gnomes. But somehow, even after 10 expansions, they still don't fucking have that and take it back, right? Like, just wait, they said. You'll have a beautiful capital city, they said. And then this is what ends up you getting in return. You don't even get that shit back. I was actually shocked when I did that. I'm like looking at it like, oh, this is just Gnomeregan the dungeon. Like, what's going on? Am I in some sort of time lock phase or what? So this should work with game capture unless it overlaps with kind of the other one. Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah, I didn't go in here really well planned out. All I wanted to do was basically explore some of the Cataclysm zones, but I mean, I could do this, you know, just in a normal leveling sense, and I should do it sort of permadeath too. Or I should almost do it with an add-on. I don't know if I should do a mage. I should do a horde race, and I should do a class that I haven't really played, and I can't decide which that would be. Right, we should do a goblin because well, I don't know. But the point is I want to see what's different. It's not even that I want to... Or you know what we could do almost with this is we could do the... that would be a good idea if I knew what class actually had like a skill shot only class type ability build, like where you have... you know, I think there start to be more abilities like that, even from level 1 maybe with somebody. Let me try like an Orc Warlock and see if I can do that. So the point is what you would do is you would go first person, quick to move, and you can only use skill shot abilities that require you to aim, which is kind of stupid, but let's just see something. Let's see what's different. What? Hello Traveler, this is the same thing as what we saw in Classic, I think, so I'm not going to read all that. Yeah, we don't have any add-ons, we don't care about the shop, we just kind of want to... Okay, Pagel, it didn't even let me choose my server. This is normal. I guess RP almost suits me more. High, lock. So this is still pretty active, so I like the fact that they're sort of rotating through these with respect to... But yeah, you'll get your updated lore. I love how they do this stuff too.
The great cataclysm has shattered more than just the world.
This I don't think I've seen.
Arguably the most powerful living shaman has left his people behind so that he might stop the cataclysm at its source.
Oh, he's already gone.
Yet, in his absence, the orc champion Garrosh Hellscream has become the Horde's new war chief. Though popular amongst the orcs for his victories against the Lich King, Garrosh's reckless leadership has begun to cause a rift between himself and the other leaders of the Horde. With Durotar's natural resources nearly depleted, Garrosh seeks to take whatever his people need to survive, regardless of who stands in his way. A dangerous new era for the Horde has dawned, and it falls to brave orcs like you to uphold the will of the new war chief and assure the dominance of your people.
Wow, that was such a good intro, actually. So yeah, I know that Garrosh ends up becoming a major villain, like where he sort of... well, I'm surprised it already happened. I thought that would happen at some point in Cataclysm. So he's already gone. Thrall's already just said no and left. I guess it must happen towards the end of Wrath that they tell you that. I just don't remember. But Garrosh becomes a major villain. Like, what expansion is that in? Is that also in Cataclysm? I feel like it's in Mists of Pandaria, where Garrosh becomes like the final boss and you do the Siege of Orgrimmar and stuff like that. Which is really taking a side when you think about the lore. Like, you do the little siege on Undercity to take on Very Mothras, and you do the attack siege on Orgrimmar. Like, it makes the Horde look like bad guys, even if, you know, all the races are treated as equal and the, you know, factions are treated as equal. When do we get the siege on Stormwind or something? Maybe there's been something like that, but I want to see if I can't do this. This is actually the perfect opportunity to try to do this build that I always talked about. Is there an ability that you can just start with? Damn it, how am I going to know that? Where you start with a level 1 skill shot, and that ability is all I need to do my style of play. How the fuck would I know that? Let me see. It might be impossible, though. Right, like, I don't know who. There will be one that you can get probably at a low level. Or they did something weird to the talents, too, where they look completely different. I remember seeing that. But yeah, I'm not really going to do anything very specific with this, but let me just see. What class would make sense? I mean, obviously a melee class isn't going to happen. A hunter, you're starting with like a polearm lance or something. I mean, this would be fun to do. Like, again, I'd be getting from 1 to 85 for basically the first time. In fact, it would be the first time because even when I got from 80 to 85 as the mage, I was already 80, so now I'd be doing it fresh from the start. So it's a very different leveling experience than anything I would have had, right? Just because I didn't play these expansions doesn't mean I would dismiss them or say they're bad, right? They could be really good in a lot of ways. I just think more they wouldn't be as ahead of their time as probably the first 3, especially the first one, where that was really, you know, way ahead of its time. Okay, rogue isn't going to make sense. It could be either shaman or... Why do I almost think I remember an ability like that? But it must come later. Like if you get to level 10 as a warlock, now you get like a skill shot, AoE type thing. Maybe a mage is just sort of meant to be. That one's not taken. Let's just watch all the intros, I guess.
The wily, cunning goblins of Kazan have lived in relative peace for generations. Though some of their race sided with the marauding orcs during the Second War, most goblins have remained neutral throughout the various conflicts between the Alliance and Horde. Ruled over by corrupt yet highly affluent trade princes, the goblins created a virtual paradise for themselves throughout the islands of the South Seas. Their ingenious feats of engineering and vast trade fleets helped make their island capital of Kazan one of the great technological wonders of the world. But now, as the elements themselves rise up in anger across the world, the goblins' mechanical paradise will be put to the test. For very soon, fate will force them to choose sides in a conflict that will shape the very history of the world.
Yeah, they already chose sides, dude. That's why I just chose fucking Horde. But no, the point, and it makes sense, right? This is one of those well-earned, well-deserved pieces of lore, right? They're not a retcon bullshit ass pull like the Pandas, where you just kind of throw a whole continent out of nowhere and make the whole expansion about that, just because you want to appeal to the Asian market or whatever, right? But, oh, because you had one miscellaneous mercenary unit in Warcraft 3, that justifies the whole expansion. This is a well-earned, deserved thing, because you knew the goblins had a homeland. You knew that they had such significance in the lore, like with Gadget Zan, Zan and Booty Bay and Ratchet and stuff like that. And you even have another characterization that is really good. The narrator mentions that, oh, they took sides with them in the, whatever, some old war. I forget all the details of that. But what they do in WoW itself that justifies why they joined the Horde is perfect. They have these contested neutral zones, right? They have Gadget Zan and Tanaris, and they have Booty Bay and STV. Those are both contested zones, so that doesn't show any favoritism. But where do they have one that isn't one faction or the other? They have Ratchet. Now, Ratchet isn't a contested zone. It's right on the doorstep of Orgrimmar. It's a Horde zone. So even though it's sort of a neutral haven, still sort of, right, it's more of a Horde favoring area. So that kind of foreshadows the fact that they would join the Horde, because unless I'm forgetting another town, or like Everlook in Winterspring, right? Those are all neutral contested zones. But the one that isn't neutral is the Barrens, is actually Ratchet. So that kind of tells you there's a little favoritism going on for the Horde, that they would have a port like that. And the other thing I like about, so that's a very well-earned, well-deserved sort of foreshadowing that they had there. And so the fact is, I want to do a pure fucking no buff run. But the point is that, no, I'm actually kind of hyped up for potentially doing this, but I'm not actually going to do it. That's the thing. I always just sort of tease myself, but then I never have time. What was that? Like invisible wall right there. What the fuck is this? What? What is going on? The point, this is my pink flamingo chess technique. Oh, it's Bastion. I should use this as a thumbnail. Did you know that the pink flamingo can get you to 1700 rating with 0 studying whatsoever? All you have to do is trade pieces and play like very reactively. And there's a bit of nuance to the pink flamingo name that I didn't even realize when I was making it. I was just making it a play on don't think about pink elephants. So, in other words, your opponent's telling you don't think about their move, right? Their move is the pink flamingo. And so instead you are supposed to think about it. Like, what's the first thing you think about when I say don't think about pink elephants? It might be pink elephant. So you're kind of playing into the reverse psychology of it. But also, flamingos aren't pink. They get their color from the things that they eat and the environment around them. So in that same reactive sense that I'm saying you should play reactively, and based on what your opponent does, you're also showing that the flamingo is itself reactive because it gathers its color from the environment, what it eats, what it surrounds it. So the point is that the same way that the flamingo gets its color reactively, so too do you get your moves reactively. So you're not looking for, oh, what crazy mate can I do? You're looking for, what are they trying to do? And therefore, what can I do in response? Like, launches your belt rockets at the enemy. Is this like a skill shot?
I need to target something first.
You started some pretty cool shit right there. And again, even as a mage, I didn't do engineering necessarily. You know, I could just watch like every single opening cutscene, I guess. I always feel motivated to do something like this. Like I start a run, but then I won't actually finish it because I just don't have time. So what am I supposed to do? But no, the other thing I always liked and identified about goblins is the one race that brings together the two factions in peace is the goblins. Not because, oh, they're so morally great or they're so peaceful in nature, but because it's because of greed. Why do I feel like I keep getting stuck on an invisible wall? So it's greed that creates peace in Azeroth and vanilla, which is a very cynical but real world interpretation. Like everywhere else you go in a contested zone, every other town, whatever, would be Horde or Alliance, or they would just fight each other and kill each other, and players can do that all the time, right? The only areas that are safe havens and sanctuaries of peace, like Shattrath City in BC, or Dalaran in Wrath, right? Except for when Jaina goes off the handle and fucking kills somebody. The only zones that are safe, the only towns that are safe in contested zones are what? The goblin towns. Not because, again, they're morally superior or they're trying to bring the races together and the factions and create peace. That's not why, right? They're just so cynical and greedy that they think, oh, violence is going to hurt business. And everybody, you know, like Michael Jordan says, Republicans buy sneakers too. Like, so we don't care about their affiliation. We just care about money. And so we want everybody to be happy consumers and just, you know, not fight each other because that's bad for business. So I love that as an interpretation, that the only peaceful contested zone areas you can find in the whole Azeroth in vanilla WoW are ones held by the goblins, and they're done so only because of zero-sum, you know, greed reasons, not because of anything actually a higher standard. That, oh, they want everybody to be peaceful and they're, you know, they're morally good, or however you want to explain it. Right, so they're strictly for cynical reasons, but that actually is how the world works. That makes sense, right? That it's more likely to have, or it's an NPC that's actually doing it. So that intro wasn't quite as good, but I mean, It is fun to play as a goblin, of course, which I never have, or I've never played as a worgen, or I've never played as anything after, you know, anything that would have come out after this fact. But yeah, we're not going to get our little flying mount thing. I was completely wrong in assuming I'd be able to do that. But no, I'm trying to think about the skill shot. Who would make sense to have a skill shot at level 1? I guess probably nobody will. But you could have shamans, or you could have... why do I almost feel like a hunter would be something? I love when some of my random RP names are taken. Like, these are just random fucking names.
Exiled years ago from their lands in Stranglethorn Vale, the dark-speared trolls attempted to make a new life for themselves.
Oh, whoops.
Under the leadership of the noble war chief Thrall, Vol'jin and his savage trolls had at last found the honor and purpose they had been searching for. But now, under the rule of the headstrong Garrosh Hellscream, the trolls fear that the Horde could tear itself apart. Vol'jin knows that whatever threats loom ahead, whether they be from within the Horde or from without, it is cunning trolls like you who will fight to preserve the honor of the Horde.
And you know, the one thing I always said that would have saved the lore, not even saying that it's that bad or I don't know all of it, but if people take issue with Cataclysm, like, oh, it's just an excuse to kind of remodel the world, so it's not really that well entrenched in lore, it feels like, you know, again, even though I like the idea of rehashing that, or sort of changing the older zones, the fact of the matter is I didn't say that it might not be that strong foundationally in lore. Like, that's the whole reason why they're doing it, is just to remodel. And then Mists of Pandaria is a total asspull, and then I guess Warlords of Draenor was some sort of blast to the past type thing, and so they were sort of weak on their lore for some of those. The way they could have fixed that I always said, is they needed Warcraft 4 because it would have set the stage perfectly for the next 3 expansions. So by the time Wrath of the Lich King came out and came to an end, Warcraft 4 should have already been out, and it could have set the stage for the next 3 expansions. The same way that Warcraft 3 perfectly set the stage for the first 3 expansions here, Vanilla, BC, and Wrath, right? Think about all the things that are left behind, like the Kel'Thuzad is left behind in the Plague Lands to watch over the lands of the Scourge and all the conquests that Arthas had done. And Arthas goes to Northrend and he leaves it behind. So that sets up Wrath of the Lich King. That sets up the vanilla conflict with the Scourge. Then you have BC is set up with Illidan running away, tail between his legs after losing to Arthas and hiding in Outland from Kil'jaeden. So that's already set up there. Vashj and Kael'thas are also helping him there in Outland. Right? All of that stuff is set up. So what else? What else? There's like so many things that are just laid in place perfectly by Warcraft 3. So what you needed more than anything was Warcraft 4 to set up the next several expansions, which they didn't have. So if they are sloppy or lacking in some way, that would be exactly the way that it would happen, right? That's the way it could have been fixed, I mean. So what do I even want to do here is the big question, and I honestly have no idea. And of course you have the whole Dungeon Finder thing, but technically the Dungeon Finder was added in Wrath. It wasn't even, you know, it wasn't even a case of this, so... Or what I would also do in addition to just flying around the zones, or what I always wanted to do, I want to go even as a higher level character and go do some of these dungeons just to hear like all the lore and the boss quotes, right? I was always a big fan of those. You just go through every 5-man dungeon and kill every boss just to hear all the dialogue that they have to say, and even all the raids. So you could go in like Modern WoW and do that through all the expansions. I'll do every dungeon in Cataclysm, through Mists of Pandaria, through Legion, through whatever, Warlords of Draenor. People really seem to hate Warlords of Draenor more than anything else. I just hate the premise of Mists of Pandaria, almost like they were pandering to a certain community, like the Asian community or whatever. So Mage didn't cut it. I'm just gonna end up making every single fucking class, which I don't even mind doing, but it's getting a little bit confusing now. Warrior's not gonna have a skill shot. Paladins I always clown, at least for their vanilla sensibility. Or I guess your pet might have a skill shot. That would actually count, and that might carry you to the point where you actually get one. So they not only start with pets, but they're very specific to their... Yeah, the Worgen starts with a human as a pet. That's what that's to indicate. They start with one that actually makes sense and fits with the area. A priest isn't going to have one. I feel like nobody's actually going to have one, but But you know, the class that I made first, when I first started playing Vanilla WoW, I made a Tauren Druid, just because I like how Taurens looked, or their zone, or whatever. Or I didn't know what their zone was, but I thought, oh, Druids would be so cool, because I could try, like, every playstyle, right? But then I never actually ended up going further. I got to, like, level 6 and stopped. Then I made, like, an Undead Warrior. Then I stopped at, like, level 17. Then I made, like, then I think I finally made a Alliance player character, and then I made a human mage, and then I got them to 60. So I started off not only as a horde player, but some of these classes that I thought would be interesting for other reasons, and then I just never did it because I was almost saving it. Like, oh, druids are too cool and interesting, so I almost want to save it with all the transformations and variety that you would get. But I'm not sure what class would really make sense for this. So we've done how many things so far? We've done like 3. Is it gonna limit me at like 10 characters actually? Let me see. We'll make a... Who haven't we made? Okay, we can do an undead, where of course Sylvanas eventually takes over as the war chief as well. We did warlock, we did mage. Death Knight's not gonna matter. I'm not gonna do that. Let's do I'm a random name generator myself.
Though Lady Sylvanas and her Forsaken finally took vengeance upon their hated enemy, the Lich King, their dark crusade in Northrend proved costly. Betrayed by Grand Apothecary Putrus at the Battle of Wrathgate, the Forsaken's devious plague of death was unleashed upon both the Alliance and the Horde to calamitous effect. Unbeknownst to Sylvanas, Putrus and his demonic ally, Veramathras, had taken control of the Undercity. As a result, the Forsaken were wrongly blamed for the traitor's atrocities.
Oh, look at him taking sides. Wrongly blamed.
The city was eventually retaken. Sylvanas and her followers still bear the weight of Putrus' sins. Mistrusted by the other members of the Horde, the Forsaken must now prove their loyalty to the cause and redeem themselves from their supposed treachery. To this end, Sylvanas has bolstered her defenses within the Tirisfal Glades and readied her undead forces for any contingency. As one of the Forsaken, you must use your cunning and viciousness to slay any who would pose a threat to Sylvanas' rule, be they human, undead, or otherwise.
Oh, they're reusing that from Vanilla. But no, it's like you're cunning and vicious, but also you're not the bad guys. You're just, Strike. You're just fucking, you're cunning and vicious, but you didn't do anything wrong. But no, I'm sure there's some retcons that after Sylvanas did all the evil shit that she did in like BFA, when she became war chief, now you'll say that, oh no, she actually did do the putricide thing. She was in on it and she did it on purpose, right? I'm sure people will come up with other theories there. So what I want to see, why not add Banshee as like a class though, like modeled after Sylvanas? That would have been a cool idea. Where there's all kind of shit that they floated as ideas, but then they never followed through on, like making Titans a race that you could actually play eventually, or you could like make a Titan version of a character, like so you'll be a human Titan and stuff to make it make sense that you're going against all these other crazy power levels that you have. Let's do a Paladin for a Tauren, I guess. Of course. Of course. Fucking who has chosen that name on the fucking planet Earth in this exact server?
Has rocked the Tauren tribes and shaken their once stalwart devotion to the Horde. A disagreement between the new Orc war chief Garrosh Hellscream and the beloved Tauren chieftain Cairn Bloodhoof led to a duel.
Wait, the duel already happened?
With his loss, the vile matriarch Magatha Grimtotem launched a murderous attack, attempting to seize control of Thunder Bluff for herself. However, Cairn's brave son, Bane Bloodhoof, successfully repelled the attack and banished the surviving Grimtotem to the farthest reaches of the land. Under Bane's hopeful leadership, the Tauren people now seek to heal their wounds and restore the balance between the various factions of the Horde. To this end, a new generation of Tauren Sunwalkers has arisen to lead their people into the light of a new dawn.
Would he say this, or is it only because I'm a Paladin?
As a proud tribesman of Mulgore, you must uphold the honor of your people and safeguard the lands of your ancestors.
They might say that no matter what, just to introduce the fact that you can become paladins, not because I'm just one anyway. Crusader strike, but no. What's interesting is there's two things that I knew happened. Right, I knew that the duel happened between Garrosh and Karen, and that he died because of it, but I didn't know that happened already. Just like Thrall, I thought Thrall left later in Cataclysm as things progressed, or I thought that maybe because we're like a couple patches in or something, like it didn't just come out, but I thought those things happened later in the story, like towards the end of Cataclysm, then Thrall goes away, or towards the end of Cataclysm, then Karen gets killed. But I guess those things have already happened. But did they happen like at the end of Wrath and I just forgot about it? Or because like it's not that I didn't know those things happened, but yeah, the Horde is pretty fucked up. Everything's pretty bleak. Like the Tauren were nearly overtaken. They lost their leader. The undead are blamed for the Wrathgate, which I mean it is still their fault to a degree. And then obviously what else did we see? The Orcs are having trouble. But the Orcs are doing well because Garrosh is doing what he's doing. He is the war chief. And then, but like everybody's a little skeptical. The Trolls, what was wrong with the Trolls? They were like, I actually forgot already. What was so bad with them? They were just kind of chilling. And once home in Stranglethorn Vale, fierce Trolls were pushed out by warring factions, befriended the Orcish Horde. They're just kind of distrusting of the Orcs, but I don't think anything was too bad with them. But what are we missing here? We have Blood Elves, who don't have any seniority to complain about anything either. So we made every single race here except for Blood Elf. Let's go ahead and make a Blood Elf Hunter, just to see what this is going to be like.
The past few years have seen unprecedented changes within the eternal land of Quel'Thalas. The Blood Elves, following the will of their crazed leader Kael'thas Sunstrider, channeled dangerous, chaotic magics to transform their sacred Sunwell into a gateway of unspeakable evil.
I like to imply that he was...
Kael'thas and his demonic masters were eventually defeated. A different kind of transformation occurred within the Sunwell itself, as a dying Naru sacrificed its life essence to reignite the Sunwell into a fount of holy energy. Now, the Blood Elf regent Lor'themar Theron sees a new hope on the horizon for his people.
One of my favorite cards in Hearthstone.
The Sunwell's light could cure the Blood Elves of their cursed state, but many still cling to the arcane powers they've procured and are hesitant to relinquish them. As one of the remaining Blood Elves, you must fight to protect Quel'Thalas and help redeem the soul of your ancient people.
Man, no matter what the stories with the Alliance are, the Horde is fucked up. So you're having addiction and withdrawal, and your Sunwell was fucked up and everything of the sort. And so what you have is a case where even if the pet had a skill shot, that would actually work to get you through. God damn it, why does nobody start with a skill shot? There must be some later expansion. That is the premise for my whole playthrough, that it's kind of hard to even explain, but you just need to start with a skill shot, because then everything you can use is only allowed to be that in a first-person click-to-move sense. So some of this stuff might have happened in Wrath, but I just forgot, because again, I haven't played Wrath in that long either. And as much as I like that they're rotating through all these expansions, I wish they would have done one thing, which was to keep a BC server up. They kind of let, when Wrath came out, Wrath Classic, they got rid of all the BC servers. Why not just keep one of them there still? So that was all the Horde races. Again, let's try to rank like who had it worst. The Trolls seem to have it best because, well, the Trolls seem to have it fine because they're just like, they're a little bit nervous about the Orcs, but nothing, I don't remember anything really major bad happening with them. They're addicted to magic as usual, and that nobody's going to trust them because of Kael'thas, and they fucked up the Sunwell, and they're just recovering. So they have it pretty bad. The Goblins don't have it too bad because they're just getting thrust into this. Like, they've had a paradise that's been disrupted by the Cataclysm. So even if they're right in the heart of it, they're also, they're kind of newcomers, so they don't get to complain. The Tauren have it pretty bad because they were almost overtaken by the Grim Totem chick, and they also lost their leader in Karen, so they have it pretty rough. If I had to rank these three, it's like the Trolls are pretty good, right? They're pretty bad. They're pretty much middle of the road, or not too bad, I guess. They have it pretty bad. Like, this is not so bad, not so bad, bad, bad. Undead are pretty bad too, because everybody's gonna blame them for the putricide thing. And Sylvanas even tried to kill herself supposedly after they killed the Lich King, because either she wasn't there, or because like she wasn't there when it happened, or she didn't know what to do with herself after that. She like lost her sense of purpose. And so, but no, what else did it say? The Wrathgate and just nobody trusts you. And then I'm sure it's retconned into the fact that, oh, maybe she did that on purpose because she's just a bad, evil villain. So everything she ever did was bad. But I kind of like her characterization that way. You always knew she would be willing to do anything. So why would you be so surprised? Like, making her war chief is a dumb idea. But, oh, it must have been the old gods that told them to do it or something. When Vol'jin's dying, whatever. A voice whispers in his ear and he thinks it's like a spirit of nature. See, how do I even know all this if I haven't played the game? But just from seeing videos or whatever references. So the orcs are actually not in too bad of a spot either, because their war chief is an orc, so at least that's a good thing. I mean, you go from Thrall to Garrosh. So Thrall was there for the first 3 expansions, but it's like now you go to Vol'jin after this, then you go to Vol'jin at some point, then Vol'jin dies, then you go to Sylvanas, then you go from Sylvanas to, I don't even know what happens after that, actually. Who would have taken over? So let's look at the alliance races. I don't even want to look at all of them. I just want to find a fucking skill shop, and nobody has one. There's no other way to do it. Like, I don't know what... It's hard to explain. Like, I'm playing like a first-person shooter. You can only click to move. Like, it's a RTS/first-person shooter. It's the perfect kind of format to do, especially when you have abilities and stuff, so it'll make it hard, but then it's not hard because I'm choosing to use no abilities, like my Season of Discovery run. But we'll look through all the races here, or even if your racial was like that, I guess it could work. Right, like, how do I even see that? Resistant to nature, critical. Like, I need a racial that's an attack, but even the racial would have to be a skill shot too. Can break out of speed altering and trapping effects. Right, that's like the human spirit or whatever the hell it was, every man for himself. Oh wait, your whole garb and stuff changed. And yeah, Aragorn becomes a legend from this. It's like Aragorn was some random dude in like a 25, 5-man dungeon, level 25, and he had all the impact to create the whole Worgen race, basically. It was all because of him. So I would go through all the alliance races to hear that stuff, but rather than that, let me just try to guess. Who do I think is going to have... I haven't done a shaman, ironic. I made the paladin as a horde, the Tauren, and then I'm going to make a shaman as an alliance. Right, who's going to be able to do it? Let's just make them all, I guess. So we haven't done a priest, right? Did I? Who did I do as I did a hunter. No, maybe one of these pets would have something. Let me think about it. The raptor wouldn't have any sort of activatable thing. I almost would have to check with each of those. The crab, it would have to have a level 1 skill shot ability that I could use until another... That might be the sort of loophole you have to do. Yeah, and of course, the hunter has the human as a pet. Like, where's the pet? Right, that's really what it makes it look like, because every other hunter has a thing there. How would I know something? Like, it's such a specific format. That's fucking stupid. Nobody's ever done it before. Right, like, I can't even adequately explain. A bear wouldn't have that. A wolf probably wouldn't have that. It would be something that has like a range capacity. So like even the hunter I just made might be that, or the moth maybe. Let me see that again. Or no, I think I just looked and it wasn't. It didn't have anything like that. It's a bite and it's a growl. Damn, it's such a hard thing to figure out. Like how, or maybe if you can get experience, like in Mists of Pandaria, you can get experience by just like mining stuff. I don't think you can do that here. Or maybe you could, but just it got notoriety in Mists of Pandaria because you could get from 1 to max level in the starting zone, whereas here, if you did it, it wouldn't matter. Right, like, you could do it, but nobody would care because you can just leave freely whenever you want. So, let me look at... Instead of Yolanda, it's Yolando. So let's see how fucked up the humans are.
The return of their heroic king, Varian Wrynn, the proud humans of Stormwind led the Alliance to victory in its war against the dreaded Lich King. While successful, the campaign in Northrend proved costly. and the humans now seek to bolster their strategic holdings throughout the world. Under Varian's daring leadership, humanity now braces itself for a renewed conflict with its perennial enemy, the Horde. Yet, as the great cataclysm rips across the world, familiar threats have once again arisen closer to home. It now falls to you to defend the kingdom and uphold the honor of humanity.
That's human privilege. That didn't sound bad at all compared to the lot of the Horde one. So the whole Alliance faction might not have that big of an issue, right? That one was pretty lukewarm. Like, oh, you're worried about the Horde. Your city just got attacked by fucking Deathwing, as you can see there. Maybe they did events of events of it or something. I just don't remember any of that happening. Like, Deathwing attacked Stormwind, but when did he attack Stormwind? Like, it must have been like a pre-expansion launch thing. Because I didn't quit like right when Kata came out. I quit probably, you know, before the end of Wrath. So I might have missed some of this, or again, I maybe have just forgotten it. Now, of course, Draenei could become shamans in the first place. So, but whatever, maybe we'll still do it. So, Priest obviously didn't have that. Or no, I was going in order like this. What? I'm not the only Quercus Alba fan. What the fuck? Who are these people who are taking these names? I don't know what the fuck I'm even doing now, but why use the randomizer when I can just do it myself?
Come to the enduring halls of Ironforge. Obsessed with the workings of the Titans, the dwarves retrieved their creator's mystical tablets from the fabled
Ulduar.
city of Ulduar. Activating one such tablet, King Magni Bronzebeard fell prey to a terrible curse that fused his statue-like form into the diamond heart of Ironforge itself. To compound this tragedy, Magni's estranged daughter Moira arrived, claiming her father's throne for herself and for her infant Dark Iron son. To avert civil war, the dwarves created the Council of Three Hammers, an uneasy coalition that would share power equally amongst the clans. Now, with political upheaval rising within the kingdom and the great cataclysm ravaging the surrounding lands, the future of Ironforge falls to brave dwarves like you.
So the fact of the matter is that I would say, oh, that's almost as tragic as the Tauren losing Karen Bloodhoof, but in this way, it's a bit more of a clown behavior. Oh, whoops, I turned myself to stone, fucking around with some old artifact. Like, try it, you know, use a test dummy on the fucking artifact first. So nobody's gonna have the skill shot that I seek. It'd be interesting to see which expansion you could do that with, right? Like, what level 1? It's so weird. I swear there was something like I thought about doing with that before. It must be in some later expansion that you really do start with something like that. Or again, I could always cheat the process with a pet. It doesn't matter even what it is, whether it's good or not. We did the Dwarf, we did the Night Elf. What other classes haven't I seen? We could do Rogue, we could do... Death Knight doesn't matter. Rogue is pretty much the only one. Rogue and Druid, I guess. I don't know. Fine. So we'll do that. We have Night Elf, Gnome, Draenei.
Imprisonment within the Emerald Nightmare, Archdruid Malfurion Stormrage has finally returned to the mortal world. Reunited with his love, Tyrande Whisperwind, Malfurion endeavors now to heal the corrupted world tree Teldrassil and rejuvenate the spirit of the Night Elf people. Yet as the great cataclysm shakes the boughs of their colossal tree, the Night Elves brace themselves against the coming storm. As war and destruction close in from all sides, it falls to Night Elves like you to stand strong and protect the enduring legacy of your people.
That was pretty lukewarm too. Like, you're just dealing with minor little things. Oh, look, better love story than Twilight kind of moment, where you have, you know, obviously Tyrande and Malfurion getting back together. You have like a romance and stuff going on. Meanwhile, the Horde is losing their leaders and all kinds of crazy shit is happening. Like, you do have like alliance privilege. It's just not as bad. Casual 10-man raid group. Must be social and active. Yeah, this game isn't as casual as I thought, because Oh, that's Shadow Meld. I was gonna say, if that's stealth, then how come I couldn't do it while moving? Because they let you do that, you know, whatever. Like, there's no such... Or no, why would I even think that? Because you could always do it while... But no, it's like you could move at normal speed now in stealth. Or like they kind of casualize and make everything too much without any sort of cost associated with it. So the only thing we have left is Druid, which we can't even do. Or I guess you're already a fucking beast, but you want to become another beast. Let's do Gnome. Or didn't we already see that? No, I guess it must have been Trolls that I was thinking about. We're gonna have to delete some characters too, 'cause I don't think you can have more than 10.
Given the recent political upheaval in Ironforge, the gnomes have suddenly found themselves unwelcomed guests within the city. Leveraging their ingenious technologies and unquenchable spirit for adventure, the gnomes have begun to reevaluate their role within Cosmodan. Under the inventive leadership of High Tinker Gelbin Mechatork, the gnomes now plan a daring campaign against the barbarous Trogs to retake their...
Yeah, see, this is what I thought, but does it never happen or what?
With the odds stacked against them, the gnomes are counting on brave heroes such as you to stand and be counted.
Or it'll be shitty like Tension Village. Oh shit, this is actually happy. You actually start in Gnomeregan too. But like, yeah, it's a bait. You end up still, after 4 expansions, you still don't get to do anything. Because, wait, I'm a priest. I thought I was something else. Oh, because I guess I don't have any of the classes that I haven't made. But that's a cool way to start, but I don't get what happens. Does Gnomeregan ever become an actual proper city? Because I feel like I played in, again, a more recent expansion, and I tried to go there, and it was just still the dungeon. Like, what the fuck? I was expecting, oh, let's see how epic the city's gonna be. They waited so long for this, and, you know, it just never happened. So now we have, doesn't really matter what we have here. We could look for... We could look for whether the Wasp is gonna have some long-range skill shot ability, of course.
Empowered by the holy light and the undying strength of their convictions, the Draenei led the charge against the demonic Burning Legion in Outland. Now, with the Legion's defeat, they have completed the desperate mission that first brought them to Azeroth.
So they didn't give a shit about the Scourge?
The Draenei were sent back to Outland to revitalize their former civilization. The majority have vowed to remain and uphold their sacred commitment to the Alliance. Driven by a powerful vision, the immortal prophet Velen believes that a great war between the darkness and the light is fast approaching, and that Azeroth will be its principal battleground. As one of Velen's chosen, you must stand bravely before the Shadow and ensure that your people are ready for the war to come.
This could be the one that they played before Wrath. Like, there's nothing that acknowledges Wrath happened. They just said, oh, we beat the Legion. Right, what does that have to do with anything right now? This is Cataclysm, bro. They forgot to update the Draenei cinematic. And even that was kind of an awkward ending to the thing. Growl, smack.
I need to target something first.
God damn it. This is Arcane Shot. Revive Pet, which obviously this is a bit of a quality of life thing just to start with the pet. Like, remember what a big deal it was to get your pet, now you just start with it. Or remember it was a big deal to save up money for your mount or to get it at level 40. Or, you know, it took a lot of people to level 60 to get their level 40 mount because they couldn't afford it, right? Things like that you had to go above and beyond and out of your way to do. So sometimes by trying to make... Oh, no, you do have more than 10 slots. By trying to make things easier, you actually make it worse, right? Somehow it's hard to explain. It would be interesting if Druid was the one that we were really looking for, but... What the fuck? What? Error creating character. Ray. Okay, so the last one that we haven't heard the lore on. Maybe I've even seen this one.
Led by their indomitable king, Genn Greymane, the proud citizens of Gilneas once stood with the Alliance against the vile Orcish horde that sought to conquer all of Lordaeron. Gilneas survived, But in the chaotic years following the Second War, the mighty kingdom drew ever inward. Distrustful of their former allies, the Gilneans erected a mighty wall at the borders of their land, closing off their nation and their hearts from an ever-darkening world.
It would have saved them from the Scourge, though.
Many years later, as the seemingly unstoppable undead Scourge marches across Lordaeron, human civilization once again teeters on the brink of destruction. As war and terror close in all around them, the citizens of Gilneas are faced with one terrible truth. Their mighty wall cannot hold back the dead for much longer.
The dead, but the dead are gone. The Scourge is gone.
Rumors of a new threat have arisen within the kingdom's borders, of feral nightmare creatures that walk upright as men, but hunt and howl as wolves.
Yeah, they've been around since fucking vanilla, dude. Start paying attention. But I don't get this because the Draenei were worried about, we just took care of the Burning Legion, but that was 2 expansions ago in fucking Burning Crusade. And then you have this talking about, the Scourge. What about Deathwing? Shouldn't you be worried about Deathwing and fucking he already attacked Stormwind? Right, why is that not the issue here? What is even this about it? Wrath. Okay. Yeah, this one seems kind of disjointed because this was a class that was added in. Right, that this was added here. So what does that have to do with anything? Bro, taking orders from a level 5 fucking NPC. But no, it's just stupid because what does that have to do with anything when it comes to... Alright, so that was all of them. I don't really know what to say other than maybe we'll look for something with the pets. Which pet would be most like... Okay, now let's just see if there's a pet that has what I'm looking for, and I guarantee you it won't. So yeah, the Alliance ones were very lukewarm and not really that big of a deal. Bite and Growl, so there's nothing there resembling skill shot, especially with the even the racial, if that counted as one. Even the Goblin could have, I guess, started with something. Like if you had an item that would work too. You could become an engineer as a Goblin or whatever, and then use the bombs as skill shots. That would count. You could totally do that. Right, how I would do that at level 1, I'm not so sure. But at least in theory, that would be the way that you could always start until you finally get an ability properly with it. So we'll go... I'm pretty sure the bear and shit won't really have this stuff, but let's just give it a shot. But no, this is pretty cool. I mean, it's always so immersive how they do these things. Even though the lore feels a little bit like they're reaching, it's still... great way to start a permadeath run if you were to die to one of those, but... You'll accidentally do an AoE like that. Don't form revive pet. None of that shit is gonna matter. It makes sense that it would be hard to find this because you only start with one ability. So I guess that would be my whole path to success here. I would have to start with engineering and I would have to use bombs exclusively until I get an ability that would be a skill shot that could be either a mage or it could be either a warlock, probably would have one relatively early on. I don't know what exactly it's gonna be. It could be an AoE, it could be anything, just something you have to aim. Right, there were some that I remember seeing at some point, maybe in some later expansion, where you could like spam it on the ground in front of you, like some sort of activatable bomb sort of ability that isn't like really an AoE, or it's, I don't know what I'm thinking of actually. So we saw the dwarf with the bear. We got to see the night elf with the little saber cat, which I'm sure is not going to be. I even gave up trying to put effort into naming these characters.
After years
Yeah, we've seen this. I maybe should have done that in the first place, but I just wanted to make one of every class just to see something. Claw, Growl, okay, that's fine. Shadow Meld, Revive Pet. But no, I love the cynicality with which people treat a game like this. Like, oh yeah, we've been there, done that, seen it all. Also, you mathematically couldn't have done it all because, you know, who got in Classic WoW every class from 1 to 60 and did everything on that class as every spec? Like, nobody did any of those things. Like, I played the game a decent amount. I only got one character to level 60. Like, I don't know who these people think they are, that they use, like, sort of hindsight bias and shit to act like, oh, they're so superior. It's just because the knowledge base exists out there. I think I just did this, didn't I? Whatever, I'll do it again just to double check. The knowledge base exists out there, but it's a case where just because you have borrowed knowledge doesn't mean it has anything to do with you. So this is Smack. That's so fucking lame, bro. Gift of the Naru. So a Naru sacrificed itself to awaken the Sunwell. But isn't that weird? Because Naru are associated with the Draenei, who are the mortal enemies of the Blood Elves. So what a heroic sacrifice that you would help the enemy like that, right? Just to, but I guess the Sunwell is just that important. So whatever happens to the Moonwell, like I forget, because that was the whole thing with the Moonwell, like turned trolls into Night Elves, right? That's how they came about. So the trolls were like the original OG race on the planet, on Azeroth. So the Hunter, what would this be? Or actually, this one doesn't even show anything. Like, what is your pet? I guess it doesn't have room because it shows the human, but that's actually weird. You have a dog. That's interesting. Not really a model that you would have ever seen much in the past. Bite, growl, revive pet. Yeah, that would be something fresh I could do. I could play through the Worgen areas for the first time, and of course, it would double as like sort of a first playthrough permadeath type of thing. This is the pressure that I hate with multiplayer online type of games. Like, if this was a single player game, I could do this whenever I want. Like, or, you know, you could do it on private servers, but because you're beholden to Blizzard's stupid-ass business model and online shit, you think you do but you don't, you're not able to do it. So I'll never be able to do it, at least in video form, because... Or on stream, because I'll have to do it on a private server, because when I finally get around to it, when I finally have time to do it, right, then it'll be offline, just like how they took BC offline when they did the Wrath or whatever. Or even they probably took off Wrath now when they did this. So this is going to be a boar. But yeah, Garrosh is causing all kinds of shit problems. So Thrall causes all these trouble and then blames it on Garrosh. Oh, he's just an inexperienced leader or whatever. Blood Fury, revive pet, nothing there. This is like my last hope that just pets would be a thing. I almost don't want to play as a goblin or a worgen though, because I want to save it for a special time, but then it'll never come, right? Because it would be fresh enough just again to see what's different in each of these zones. So Garrosh goes all militant, like the orcs are meant to be. Thrall is too soft. Let's see, we got Undead Hunter as well as like a spider. I mean, it makes sense. It would be like the first thing you would see in your like immediate surrounding. So many of these are very similar, but some of them are like range, aren't they? Like, I don't really get it. No, I almost want one of their racial abilities to be that, but it wouldn't be enough to kill them then, probably, because it would have a long cooldown. So your best bet is you're going to play... I mean, I'll do a goblin just for the RP sake of it, maybe, but I'll have to actually use bombs the whole time. This is not how I expected this session to really go, but I'll do this again next week, so I'll actually try to... Oh, fuck. Did I actually interrupt that? Or no, he just got up and maybe broke the sequence of playing dead. We did the undead. We do this one, which is like the little... Let's pretend it's a pink flamingo too. That was the ultimate reference, coming full circle. But no, I love that paradise spot that they have in... I don't have a target. I love that little paradise spot where they basically get to... What is she crying about? No, the lore is actually still pretty engaging here. Like, I'm surprised how much I'm impressed by it. Even though they lost the footing of Wrath, they give everybody, like, of Warcraft 3 as the base, right? They give everybody something relevant to worry about. So there is something really cool about that. It actually was very cool. If you just look at those, if you look at the fucking intros to all the races. But no, I like how even the narrator takes sides. Like, he says, oh, you know, the trade princes are corrupt. Meanwhile, Sylvanas did nothing wrong. The narrator said it first. Claw, he, like, is one of these actually activates a rocket thing. Rocket barrage. Launches your belt rockets at an enemy.
I need a target.
No, not a target, though. I would legitimately have to just figure out something with engineering or bombs or something here. I don't have to do it on a goblin. It just feels... It would feel right, though, wouldn't it? I don't know. I do have that sort of personality. Like, I like to save things. I want to savor it. I want to save it for a special day occasion. But the point is, it'll never come because these companies are cynical, even in the stupid sense. Like, I even said it myself. I'd be subscribed to WoW till the day I die, even if I don't even play it, if they just had all of them available to play at any time, right? All the expansions, because I never know when or which one I want to do. But they, even when they do something right, they go from you think you do but you don't to actually doing it, but then when they actually do it, then they don't do it all the way. Like, oh no, who would want to play on BC now? But you would always want to have the option to play on anything. And how hard is it to just keep one server up for that time? So that's gonna be the same shit.
Have a target.
Yeah, basically it's impossible. You just can't do it, so you're fucked, and that's all there is to it. Let's just decide on what character we're actually gonna play next time. So it will be a 1 to 85 first playthrough, quote unquote, of at least in that context. Like, not that I didn't play during Cataclysm at all, but very briefly just went from 80 to 85. You know, don't even remember it. So it's basically a first playthrough of 1 to 85, and it's going to be a permadeath, and it's also going to be it's going to be a first person, click to move only, and skill shot only run, which is hard to explain, but you'll understand in a minute here if I can actually figure out how the fuck to do it. Or the game can't even handle what I'm doing. I've just made too many characters. I'm doing it like I'm a bot or something. Yeah, how could you be nostalgic about something you've never even played? Or wait, I made a rogue, didn't I?
Exiled years ago from their
Whoops. Sinister Strike, nothing I can do with that. Instant Strike caused 2.9 weapon damage, so certainly the racials don't do anything either for you. Yeah, I'd have to figure something out, unless you can just level up by doing, you could level up by doing, like, professions or something, right? By mining and whatnot, if they actually allow you to do that here. I would have to get to a level where I then would... I mean, this is something you could obviously just look up, but you would have to get to the point where you can actually get an ability that's going to be a skill shot, which I assume would be like Mage or Warlock, or somebody would have that. And so the point is that you don't have anything here. That is so dumb, dude. You would think there would be something like that. Collections. Oh yeah, this is all the shit that people go crazy about when it comes to... So they had like swimming mounts this time, which is pretty cool. Extrapolation on, like, you know, you have flying mounts now in... Or do you not get that? When do you get that? Flying mounts, like in... You must get it in Cataclysm, that's the whole point. So they took a lot of those places that you would only see in the flight paths, like the place above... between Elwyn Forest and Burning Steps where the two dragons are fighting or something. Right, you can go there now with your flying mount, or all the other areas that were kind of blocked off and just unknown. One of which was in Feralis, where they have that nice little hot spring thing that presumably wasn't there before. So what other servers do we have here? We have RP. I guess I don't mind this one. Let me just make a character that is going to be for real this time. I can't decide whether I want to do a goblin or not. I almost don't want to. What if I just do a human mage and do, like my old school thing? Not that he really looks exactly like that. If we do a human mage, and let me try to understand what would be our win condition here. Okay, so you can't use Fireball. You can't, whatever, right? So let me think how I can plan this out. I'd have to become an engineer. Like, how would I even do this? Enjoy the band, guys. They don't like racism. Oh, here we go. Racism is in a fictional context of, you know, like the orcs versus the undead and stuff like that. That's okay for storytelling purposes. I mean, so assuming I can't fight any of this, what would I actually have to do? Or it'll kind of spoil what spells you're going to learn, right? Which I kind of don't like that. So it would tell you when... Wait. It makes it seem like you learn so few abilities, but you must learn other ones too. Right, like you learn this at 7, 8, 18, like you don't learn any frost spell from 8 to 18. What the fuck is that? Like Flame Strike, I guess we don't really, the Frost Nova would kind of, no, it still doesn't count. I'm so confused actually. Why is this so hard to figure out? Oh, here we go. Look at this chat, man. Maybe a Warlock will have one, so let's try to find it this way then. And I guess we've already made every class, so I can just kind of go through the ones I've already made. Then, well, it doesn't matter. Like, I would just have to skip the stupid-ass cutscene. Okay, let's look for a Warlock. Which is here. So what I can see is what level will we learn, like, a different spell at that would actually be relevant. Fast Track. Experience gained by 10%. Why do I even have that? Drain Life. Yeah, maybe I'm overestimating this. Like, why is it so fucking impossible? Level 18? That's so dumb. Yeah, how can there be that few spells? Like, what the fuck am I missing? Maybe some of them just don't show up there for some reason, or they're going to be, like, in your talents. I forget. They completely changed how, like, the talent trees work. Or they changed it one way, and then they changed it back, like... Right. With, I forget what it was. That was a hot topic that everybody debated. But, okay, mages don't have it. Maybe Shamans. Now I'll look through every class again, but I didn't realize I'd have to do this. This is so annoying, man. Why is it? That doesn't really work. Flame Shock, Wind Shear, Instant Cast, Disrupt the target, so it has to be something that doesn't have to do with the target. Instant Weapon Strike that adds 5 additional damage. Lightning Shield, Flame Tongue Weapon, Water Walking. Okay, we're gonna find an ability here if it's the last thing I do. And even once I find it, I still won't be able to use it. So I'll have to figure out some other way to level up in the meantime. Which I'm having a lot of trouble thinking about. But no, it'd be fun to see just some of the storylines, like go through the Goblin starting area, go through the Worgen starting area and stuff like that, because I haven't done any of that. So we've seen that. Let's just see every single one. It seems unlikely. It'll end up being a warrior or something, where you have to aim some skill shot melee ability. Or did I somehow sequence break it by being able to jump like that? Thunderclap, Heroic Strike, Heroic Throw, Victory Rush, Execute, Battle Shout, Cleave, level 24, Parry, Taunt, Thunder Armor, nothing really that's standing out to me. A lot of the same abilities that you would always have, but it just seems like somehow less, and I don't like how they even show it to you there, but I guess it's not that big of a surprise. Like, they would do the same thing. They would do the same thing where you could just see it in the trainer thing anyway. Although some of the starting trainers wouldn't have all the abilities for the whole game, like for the whole up to 60, right? They would only have them up to a certain level. The Paladin wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. I swear I've seen this, like, it was in some later expansion where I saw like some ability like that for a Warlock at like level 10 that would have made sense to use like that. Word of Glory, Redemption, Seal of Righteousness. This is what I get for trying to do, that's so lame, bro. This would be the perfect opportunity to do it. It's something I've talked about before, but again, it's hard to do in vanilla, or you could do it in anything if you just have enough bombs and stuff to go around. Right? You'll literally just kill every fight, win every fight just by spamming engineering stuff until you finally get an ability, which maybe the best you're going to get there is just an AoE, which is not exactly very efficient. Like a literal skill shot here would make perfect sense, and the reason why is because you have, you know, Call Pet, Revive Pet, Beast Lore, Dismiss Pet, Kill Command, give a command to inflict steady shot. A steady shot generates 9 focus. That's not going to be an aim thing though either. Stealth, multi-shot, survival, parry, serpent sting, wing clip, disengage, scan. Yeah, this might be one. A short range shot, but I don't think that really has anything to do with that. Charm Binder grips will sell cheaper than Auction House. At least this place seems pretty active for what it's worth. So people jump on the bandwagon just because it's available here. But what if it's available all the time, right? Just like, oh, BC. People, oh, BC is old news. BC Classic is old news now. We can't have another server for that, even though, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been old news in the first place if you just, you know, hadn't played it since it came out. But what's the problem? Like, why do people have to be like that? Inner Fire and then Smite. God damn it, bro. This is so hard. Devouring Plague. Yeah, it makes it seem almost too streamlined that you would somehow... So I have a new idea. Let's just play an engineering only character where we just spam bombs the whole time, which is going to be really hard. Because, obviously, how do we get that level of money early on? I go from thinking I'm just going to fly around the world and explore to doing this. The Shaman we already saw. Rogue, I highly doubt will have anything. So like Rogue, Druid, and I guess that's it. Let's see what we have here. Eviscerate. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that they would even have one, but you never know. Or like they could throw like some kind of dagger in such a way that maybe it would make sense for that. Distract is what I'm talking about, like where it's an AoE, even though it doesn't do damage, right? That's the kind of thing that we would have to do. You're turning it into basically like a first-person shooter, like if you do a Binoculars run of Dark Souls, I gotta run 2 more Worgens through the starter zone today. Yeah, what people also don't appreciate is like, oh, why would you want to go back and play that? But what if you never got the chance to play it? What if you were born in like the year 2000? You never got to play Cataclysm. Well, maybe you would have, but you know, you would have been like 10 years old or whatever. So you have to understand that there are going to be people who missed out on it altogether. This is going to be a druid. Why do I feel? Yeah. This would be good. But why? Oh, no. It's not. It's not an AoE though. Insect Swarm, Cat Form, Rake, Ferocious Bite, Prowl, Revive, Omen of Clarity. Why did I feel like there's a Druid spell like that too, where you make a Starfire level 8, but again, it says the target. Channeled. It doesn't always have to be channeled. No, I guess probably. We just have to get to level 44 before. So even in doing that, what is the lowest level one that I noticed? And the answer is I don't really even give a shit. So let's try to go back on the...
Protected Gilneas from the Scourge. We protected Gilneas during the Northgate Rebellion. We will protect Gilneas from whatever this new threat may be.
It's almost like they're bad karma from closing off to the outside world, but Aragorn fucked them up real good. Right, that's like the opposite of a quarantine because you kind of lock the virus in with you or whatever. So let's look at the goblin thing that we have here. And so now with this guy, we would basically... Let me try to figure out what my gameplay style is going to be. Or I guess I've already broken the rule, right, that I... Let me just try to figure it out. Like, what the fuck am I trying to do? You would think there'd be some sort of engineering shit going on here. I'm going to figure this shit out. I'm going to somehow do it. But what I have to do is first make the character again properly, right? And start with the proper thing where we can't move. So we're going to play it with just the mouse. We even have to click the... I guess we don't have to do that. We can still use the keyboard for the ability. But we're not going to have an ability. If only the rocket barrage worked like that, but you wouldn't be able to kill stuff like that per se. Okay, so now let's try it again. We're going to do... You have the word gore in your name, so that's not acceptable. What? Okay, so here we go. Now this one is the official permadeath 1 to 85 format, but one part of this format I am confused. Okay, so now we cannot move. We have to make sure we don't break that rule. Right, so now immediately we're going to say, where would this even go? Click to move. Where do we see it? Camera. Click to move. Only horizontal when moving. Set the camera to stay where placed. Only when moving. Adjust camera. Okay, we'll leave that for the time being. But what we have is, what was the other thing? You're going to be in first person as well. So what you're going to have is... how do you actually do it then? All I'm doing there is turning around, right? So that wouldn't be an invalid format at all. What game did I try to do this with? Maybe Guild Wars? I was doing like a permadeath first playthrough of that. So what did I just do? Only horizontal when moving. Use mouse clicks to move your character to destinations. But how? Set the camera to say where placed. How do you enable that though? Oh, you have to right-click it. Okay, we right-click. Again, I'm not even touching my keyboard, so we are following the thing. So imagine playing the game like this, but there's one element that's missing, is that you would need to... How would I kill stuff or level up without, again, using the other condition, which is a skill shot? And the answer is, you know, I can't auto-attack, I can't do anything. I'm even going to get rid of some of this shit from the thing. I haven't played in years. How long has this even been out for, the Cataclysm re-release, I wonder? Or no, I guess what you could do by accident is you could click like both you might end up clicking both mouse buttons and moving like that, which I don't necessarily want to do. Defiant Troll. You're blocking my fucking click to move, dude. That's your real defiance. Tunneling Worms. Oh, that looks pretty cool, actually. I want to tame that as a pet. But no, what would I actually end up doing? And the answer is, let me see if there's a profession trainer, but then how would I get the money to do it? You would need a main, and then you would need to just mail yourself 1,000,000 bombs, of course. That would be the easy way to do it. Which maybe should be allowed, because I can't figure out how else I would fucking do this shit. Where am I even clicking? Like, I can't even see it. I'm clicking, like, up in the sky. What does TC even stand for? Kazan something... Fizz Lighter. You know, we have to find like an engineering trainer, or we have to find like some other maybe I'm not the biggest fan of how the camera works, but for the most part it wouldn't matter. But the problem is I keep right clicking so then to move the camera, but then it doesn't work exactly right. Yeah, this could be the immersive RP storytelling way of playing this, but of course you have to at least it doesn't make you fall off like a clown in trying to do that. You watch them, trolls real good. You have like one forced labor or whatever, one unhappy labor working for another, watching another. Kazan, okay. So what am I hoping to even find? I guess I could get a certain amount of experience just for discovering all kind of other shit. Like... discovering zones and stuff. Like, how much experience did I get for that? 10 experience. Or yeah, what ability would I even be expecting to wait for, though, is the problem. And apparently I don't see one. Yeah, it would really just be more a case of a proper... It would be more a case of just a proper item-based run, right? You could use, like, a bomb. You could use, like, engineering stuff. You're not going to have enough money to even do this shit, though, even if you want it. Or you can fall down, okay. And sometimes you might have to use that to your advantage, because you would basically have... Now, I can't die, otherwise it is a permadeath run. I'm going out in the water way too much, carelessly. That's interesting. I was even wondering, like, how would you jump around and stuff? But if you do it like that, then you can actually fall off of stuff. Or maybe it only lets you do that if you... The slick. Maybe it only lets you do that if you are falling into water that wouldn't hurt you, but that seems kind of dumb. Shore crab. Or maybe there's like some sort of scaling type shit that goes on too. I've never really tried to play in first person before, so this would be a very interesting format if I could actually do it. But the game really didn't seem to want me to do it because it's just not... There aren't the kind of abilities that you really need for this to work. Or again, that kind of how I want to play it anyway. Not that you couldn't just use theoretically anything. You won't be able to see your hands or anything, or your feet as you look in first person, or your animations of you casting spells and stuff. I wonder if they ever did add that or change it later. The one problem is your jumping ability is not going to really be allowed, because you could... You know, how would you move while you jump or something? I don't know how it would work. So the one component that's missing here... Oh yeah, the buffs kind of invalidate the run too. The one element that's missing here is the simple fact that I don't get to actually... You can just kind of click anywhere, and it'll still kind of just go in that general direction. This is like as interactive as playing a Diablo game. Fucking... You know, Diablo style, Path of Exile, whatever. Because what you have is, you have the simple ability of basically being able to... Whatever. It's just kind of like, it feels the same way. Said they were going to add WASD movement for, like, Path of Exile 2, apparently. No, I don't always play Path of Exile, but the one and only time I did for like 3 hours, I triggered the shit out of everybody because everybody's a hindsight bias clown who of course is a god gamer at every game they play the first time they play it. But even if they are, right, what does it really prove? Like, why does it matter? Just give me like an engineering trainer that fucking carries my dumb ass. How about that? Or let me somehow learn a profession. Yeah, like how would that panda who got to 85 just in the starting zone, how would they even have done it when, you know, there must be all the profession trainers and resources and stuff there. Or maybe they could mail something to them. That would be kind of lame if you just mail yourself bombs, if that's really the way that you decide to do this. You should just give me an infinite fucking supply of them if I want that to be my playstyle. General goods for a goblin should be bombs. Do throne. Don't ask how we got them. How we got them, they didn't. They didn't. Who is they?
New shipment's coming in soon.
Foreman Damp Wick.
Quickly,
Hey there,
quickly.
boss man. This batch of troll slaves has got to be the worst yet. Lucky for us, the Kaja Might doesn't seem to be making their brains any smarter. Making their soft brains any smarter. Next time I won't miss. Hunter trainer, warrior trainer, they always say like dickish things to you too. Or wait, this is like an automated thing. What the fuck is this? Warrior Matic NX01 is currently offline. Or is just offline in the presence of somebody who's not actually a warrior. They're all outsourcing this shit. It's like when you use the self-checkout line, you end up getting fucked over by the fact that now you're going to lose your job because your job will be replaced by something similar. So very good to see you. I hope that you're enjoying the Kaja Cola marketing campaign. We're expecting a massive set of explosions for the next phase of the campaign. That always goes over well with our target demographic.
Have a good one.
Candy Kane, your executive assistant, Chip Endale. It's gonna be really hard to even figure out.
Spit it out.
Subject 9. To your astonishment, the raptor hatchling is able to communicate with you. Is it true that you cook your meat? Curious. You have now the ability to basically... Let me see. Fucking, sometimes it's a little bit annoying. I could change the camera element of it a little bit, but... Or the annoying thing is going to be when you want to jump on something. It's kind of hard to do like this. Nobody has ever played the game like this, I guarantee it. You can fall down relatively easily, but you can't jump very easily. Okay, let's just see what quests and shit they give you.
No loitering. Whatever that means.
Hey there, boss. I trust that you're enjoying the new promotion. We all think that you're the one who's finally going to be able to finally replace this Gallowix and take the title of Trade Prince. But you didn't hear that from me. You say that to everybody. Literally, because you're an NPC. We have to do a lot to do, very little time, taking care of business. With all the troubles, Sassy's incentive. It's taking Sassy is ruthless. With all the troubles down in the Kaja mine, Foreman Dampwick's been going crazy trying to find you. He said something about some defiant trolls. The Kaja Might that our trolls are mining is crucial ingredient to Kaja Cola. That bubbly stuff is making us a fortune, and it's going to get you... Weird that I've never heard of it. If you fucking... It should be something more organic that you've mentioned previously in the past. Of, whatever. Something that the goblins had already traded. That bubbly stuff is making us a fortune and is going to get you a promotion to the Trade Prince. But first, you have to get a production flowing again. You'll find the foreman to the east here. Give him this as an incentive to get his act together. I mean, I guess at least this I can do.
Enforcement, extortion, we do it all.
Should be a blast, but give us an endless lifetime supply of bombs, and then I could actually do this fucking playthrough. Oh, I thought it was going to be like a troll. Or, I mean, an ogre that... Wait, what? What's happening? Oh, I was just bugging out. Okay, let's go to him. You should be able to click on him and it'll walk you right to there. Hey there, batch has to be the softest. Everything's going great. Sassy's incentive. A gift from Sassy. I hope it's a bonus.
Hit the road.
What, you're just gonna blow him up and fucking kill him? Like, oh, I guess it's just to teach him a lesson. Okay, I get the message. Good help is hard to find.
Anyway,
I failed. I tried to meet our Kaja quotas, but you know the troll slaves here these days. Good help is hard to find. I think your personal touch is called for. A shock from the battery on your goblin all in one belt should do the trick. Adjust their attitudes, the rest will fall in line. Kaja production must continue or the trade prince will have all our heads. Now I guess this you should be allowed to do because you aren't actually killing them. So maybe we'll just do a bunch of quests that are objective based rather than actually combat based to, you know, get some experience, but I really can't figure out how to do this. Trouble in the mines. We've got trouble down in the Kaja mine again. The tunneling worms have returned and they're literally eating away at the Kajaro company profits. Your mining is down, which negatively impacts the production of Kaja. I tried calling the exterminator, but he's fled with the last payment we made to him. Fled? Do you think you could head into the 3 mines and take care of it? I'd help, but I haven't attended the cartel mandated fighter training seminar. Oh, and I have apparently.
careful.
Like 6 tunneling worms. So I don't know, man. What am I hoping to find? Why isn't there like an engineering trainer here somewhere, dude? Just show me what I got. It should be super easy to make, or give me like a mining thing and let me see if I get experience from doing gathering professions, which that in itself could be pretty good. Then I just have to avoid conflict. And why is this not working out at the time? The fuck? That's gonna get me killed in the middle of combat where that shit just randomly decides to stop working. So yeah, the attitudes adjusted, stuff like that you should be able to do because you're not actually fighting anything. Unless you have to fight them on top of that. If they, you know, 1 in 8 of them will actually get mad when you do it and fight you and you have to kill them, but... Yeah, this is like a vacation resort for tourists, but then it turns into obviously where you get to whatever. Now it's gonna be fucking, although it doesn't look too damaged by Deathwing and the whole Cataclysm yet, but yeah, that was always an intrigue of, you know, just the interesting location the whole time that you don't even get to see it. You know, you always saw the Maelstrom, but you didn't really know what it was going to lead to or anything about it. You would just always see that in the middle on the map from vanilla. There were a lot of unfinished zones and parts of the map and just things that they were sort of alluding to and foreshadowing and stuff like that. You have to RP in this permadeath run truly that we can't get hit by the car, even if it'll phase and move right through us. I like those MMOs that would let you like have body collision, even though you control people with that, like in Tibia and stuff. You can actually block their path. There is like a strategic element to that, right? That enough people can block somebody and trap them in there. Whereas in a game like this, you obviously can't do that because you have to, whatever, you just kind of phase through, go right through people and stuff. So here you might end up falling down and taking some fall damage. I can't die. Even I should only get 1 chance overall too, because oh shit, this could be a big mistake. In fact, even wherever I'm going down is potentially going to get me killed, because this could be all hostile enemies and shit. Or maybe not. I don't know what I'm expecting. I was almost expecting to try to just find an engineering trainer. Or I should try to follow my RP rule set too, of like, oh, I have to rest in a different location every time, but I don't know, these are still friendly. As they should be. I mean, like, level 1 to 5, they shouldn't give you too much hostile shit. There should just be, like, engineering trainers on the fucking ready. Or this is, like, some sort of, mini game that you can play. Oh, yeah, their chicken sound isn't very convincing. Kazan Citizen. Yeah, this would be hard to get used to. I would need to fucking adjust the camera. I'll change the camera setting maybe next time, but all I want to do is find the fucking engineering trainer, dude. Yeah, it's kind of sad to see that Senjin Village wasn't all that impressive, and that obviously Nomergon wasn't even taken over at all. Even though that's how they start with the expansion, they must somehow explain it away, like, oh, we can't actually take it over for such and such reason. I don't know where the fuck I'm even going. Like, why is this so hard to figure out? These are all still friendly areas, I think. I would just have to explore part by part and find... Even if I find them, it doesn't mean I'm going to be able to do anything with it, but... At best, I could maybe... It'll be like a very multi-layered thing. I'll have to find a mining trainer, then go around doing that to try to level up if that lets you do it that way. And then also... be able to make enough bombs with the shit that I get, assuming that that's even enough to make it, and then you'd be able to finally fucking do something. Right, that's how hard it's gonna be.
Quickly!
Bro. Trying to find an engineering trainer in a goblin town should not be this fucking difficult. Let's see. Or it wouldn't be nearly as difficult if I didn't have to do it like this, but ridiculously good looking. I don't want to go too far because then I'll end up running into some actual real level combat. Non-citizen, it won't be over here, I don't think, or maybe it will. Like when George Costanza says, oh, I make bridges or something. I make railroads. I thought engineers did that. Giving engineers a bad name in this game, that all they do is make bombs and shit, although you do make all kinds of other stuff. Swindle Street, yes, please swindle me into fucking paying you to teach me how to be an engineer. Like, what the fuck is going on? I don't think there'd be a level limit here. Bling Merchant.
Go!
Kind of a unflattering angle here a little bit. What's up, G? Don't look like you got enough macro runes to afford the class I specialize in. You might want to get yourself up to the bank. Dig. How do you just know that by looking at me, though? Holy shit, I hate how sometimes this just doesn't work. What? The fuck, dude? That, I tell you, that's gonna get me killed in combat if I ever get to the point where I actually do combat. Yeah, this is more frustrating to try to figure out the format that I was trying to do than anything else. Custom clothes, custom clothes.
I've seen you around here before.
You might think, oh, you know, you should wait till you get to a capital city before you expect a trainer, but you would just expect it here based on the whole theme of what they're all about. Like, I just don't get it. No, I won't do the resting condition. That would be too harsh. No, like, leveling is meant to be all fast-paced and stuff here, too, so... It's not a case where you should really worry about it too much. There's just too many random citizens. Like, you need more NPCs that actually serve a purpose for you here. Or we gotta, like, RP walk the whole time, too, but that'll make it unreasonably difficult. Oh, no. How do I... Okay, shit. I don't have, like, the proper untargeting stuff even on. Yeah, whatever. We'll figure out something maybe next time. I just wanted to find some actual method of me doing anything, but there's nothing I can do. Goblins should just start with like 1,000,000 bombs in their bag, enough to get me to level whatever, when I'd actually get an ability that would let me do it on demand, but there actually isn't anything like that. Right, like Blizzard would kind of work. I'll just AoE fucking grind. Flame Strike level 44, level 52. It doesn't even make sense. Why would that shit take so long to get, first of all? The mage might not even be the right class to do, but I didn't see anything like super early that you were getting on anybody, so it might just turn into that. Instead of a, you know, only a skill shot run, it'll have to turn it into just only a profession run, where you get to basically, you know, only use engineering bombs and stuff. Which is fine too, but I just wasn't expecting that to be an issue. You know, I thought somebody would start with one even at level 1, let alone not until level fucking 50 or something, where you're getting some of these Whether it's channeled or whether it's just a single shot, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's not like I know these areas super well. Like, I could totally do it in some other... Maybe I would, you know, go to Goldshire or something. I don't know this fucking zone. I was trying to bank on the fact that, you know, gnomes are... Or, I mean, goblins are all to do with this shit anyway. To do with engineering, but I guess it didn't work. Let me, like, go to Goldshire and see if there's a trainer there. Or I'll go to Stormwind. Like, fuck it, dude. We'll make another human, and we'll try it like this. What class would make sense besides a mage? Like, maybe a warlock? I can't... Well, then the pet's gonna just be there as a cosmetic, too. So what we have is the... We have is a simple ability to basically... Whoops, I didn't mean to do the capital letter. What the fuck? Oh my god, bro. Bro. Okay, what we need here is to just figure out... We gotta play it the same way from the beginning of the character. So you know that it's actually authentic. So now you go here, you want to abandon the pet. Dismiss. Yeah, we don't want him there at all. And then we want the ability to click to move, which I assume should already be activated still. Click to move, and I don't know what all this is. Only when moving. Always adjust camera. Okay, yeah, let's see how the adjustment would work. That's good. That's all you really need. Let me try to go to Goldshire, I guess. Now I'll be baited, and there'll actually be profession trainers here, but... You know, because I'll act like, oh, you know, I know these areas by heart, but they're not going to be exactly the same. So I guess we at least get to see the difference with these zones, even if not... Because I probably didn't look at them in this great detail either. Like, I would just fly over them. And a lot of things are still going to be basically the same, though. That's why it was so important for them to do this, to try to change the old zones. Because imagine if they hadn't done that, then Elwynn Forest would still be basically the exact same as it is now. You know, in Shadowlands and beyond, as it was fucking 20 years ago, right? That would be too much of staying the same. It's still going to resemble it a little bit now, but between Cataclysm and other stuff that they would have done, it was a good excuse to try to change it. Yeah, it is like almost just a design shortcut, purely just to try to do that. I feel relatively safe on the road here, but I feel like... You know, if I die, it is permadeath, you gotta remember. But they make everything so casual and easy that, you know, you can just fucking sit here in Dungeon Finder the whole time, and that's how you're expected to actually, you know, speedrun level way faster than you ever would have imagined. Which, again, I'm not gonna blame Cataclysm for Dungeon Finder, because maybe it introduced, like, Raid Finder, but I'll just go to fucking Stormwind, because apparently nobody can... do anything properly with the profession. Or we'll get to see what Stormwind really looks like. But I'm pretty sure I was in Stormwind and retail and some other expansion, but it probably would be relatively similar to what it is here. It might just be beat up a little bit. Or remember the guy in the cheese shop who said that won't happen until Deathwing attacks Stormwind. Like, he says it as like a joke. Yeah, right, the Defy is taking over Stormwind. That's just as likely as Deathwing attacking Stormwind. That was a joke, actually. Oh, no. Well, whatever. I won't say that I have only one character chance, but I can at least... I'm just trying to figure out the fucking format, bro. Like, why you gotta fucking do that shit? How would I even get the money to be able to train it is the question. Like, I'd have to... Oh, this is so hard. Whatever, we just got a taste at least now. Next time we'll figure out how to actually start the run, I guess.